Welcome back, everybody, to the Talkin' Cock podcast. It's TNC with R&E. It's called Talkin' Cock because it's just two guys dicking around. Eli, what's happening, man? How's it going?
I am here. I'm here.
Okay. I'm not.
Oh, neither am I.
He's gone. Finally, I'm the only host of the TNC. No, he's...
Welcome back to the TNC Podcast.
I was finally the only host.
Next time, Ryan. Next time you'll get it. You'll get it. How are you doing, Ryan? You having a blissful day?
This is the best day of my life. I've never had a better day than this.
I don't believe him.
Who are you talking to?
Myself.
Who am I cocking to?
I actually just have a mirror. I have a mirror right behind.
It's called your fucking webcam.
Actually, no, it's actually I was gonna make it into a bit, and you just had to ruin it.
Okay, come on. That was pretty good.
Fucking hell.
Come on.
You see this shit, guys? This is what I deal with on a daily basis.
Shut up. I'm editing this out.
No, you're not. It's staying in. This is all staying.
Yep, you have the power to control that.
No edits. No edits at all.
No edits? Okay. No, I don't edit our videos at all.
Fuck no. So you're... What was
this is the best day of my life, Eli. What can't you remember these important things about your friends? Like, this is honestly pretty triggering.
It just slips my mind, to be honest.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I'm in a...
You're really making me feel lonely with that.
Oh, whoa, that was such a natural transition into the topics of today.
What topic?
Oh, okay.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Oh, wait, did you come up with the topic for this one?
I just thought we had like some semblance of professionalism. That was totally my bad for assuming that.
Yeah, no, it is. It's your bad. It's your fault too.
Yeah, I feel really isolated
just so you know
right now, and
yeah,
without people, that's how I feel.
Yeah, interesting. But I'm here, so what's the real story, Ryan? Huh?
Sorry, did you say something? Quit looking so sad. I'm kidding. Jesus. Oh wait, I can't say that anymore. It's not the religious episode.
Oh yeah, no, we have to cut out any.
That's my bad. Don't fire me, please. I need this job. I need this. You're not helping. Say something. God damn.
You did the fucking intro, bro.
I was like,
this is your time.
I said, please don't fire me. Please, I need this job. And you're like, I'm trying to like do a bit with you, and you're like, yes, yeah.
I gotta be honest, man. I did not catch that at all. I think I was so focused on just like maintaining the like flat face that it just.
You're like, I was trying to do a bit earlier, and then I try to do a bit, and you're just like, fuck you, man, fuck you.
Just like, did you ever see that clip of there's this dude on like America's Got Talent or something? It was from like 10 years ago, and he claims to be like the world's fastest.
Oh
reader.
yeah,
and he opens up a book, and then and all of the judges are like, did you even read it or and then like he asked his friend to like tell them what it was about, and he basically just said the same exact thing, and they were like, okay, this dude's like he was really trying. He was
like, I'm the world's fastest reader, and he didn't even like look at every single page. He would like skip like 20 pages at a time. Like, Jesus, at that point, it's like, why do you need to open the book if you can just skip 20 pages at a time? Like, I also think it's funny that they think like being the world's fastest reader means that you have to be able to read it out loud at that speed. Just- you know, he's like, if
Because you
you slow
also
it down, he actually read the entire
he's
novel.
because you also have to be a fast talker. And if you're not a fast talker but a fast reader, then you don't get both because then you can't go to America's Got Talent.
Oh, true.
So,
Imagine he's like
you
world's fastest
gotta.
reader. All right, I read it. I did. Yeah, I
On
posted
live
it all up
TV,
here actually.
on live TV, everyone's like,
How do we know you read it?
"Ah,
Trust me, bro.
ah." He's like, it's all up
It's all
here.
up here. Ask me anything about that book. Who's the author?
All up here, man. All up here.
It's somewhere in here. I took in a lot of stuff, like.
He doesn't answer any of the questions. He just goes,
Just give me a
it's
sec. I'm
all
getting
up
a
here.
call actually. He's like looking it up.
He just turns around on stage and pulls out his phone and then turns around and you're like, I saw you put your phone in your pocket. It's like,
Yeah, I was
okay.
texting my girlfriend who's very hot and how rich I am. That's what I was doing.
I was asking her what the book was about because she actually read it. I mean, she
I
also
was
read
telling
it.
her what the book was about before I told you.
I'm just imagining him just like changing his story like every time they ask him a question. He's like, no, I wasn't. She wasn't texting me. I was texting her about the book that I just read.
Yeah, not this book I just read on stage. A different book.
Earlier today, it was earlier. It was
actually the sequel to this
like
book
an hour
that I just read. So
yeah.
I
I
actually
read
had
it
the game
earlier.
on that one, so I get double points here.
How do we get on this bit?
I don't know,
already?
but speaking of
I don't know.
girlfriends, talking about things that we don't have, like the ability to be the world's fastest reader, dyslexia. We can.
Well, you don't know that I'm not the world's fastest reader.
You aren't. You need to be able to read. You
My
need to be
fourth
able to read.
grade, my fourth grade teacher could tell you though.
Well, listen. If you're nearly 24 years old and you're still at a fourth grade reading level, then that's a problem.
No, I was
would
saying
know
my fourth
because I'm
grade
experiencing that problem.
because my teachers in fourth grade told me and my parents that I struggled with reading comprehension. So I had to take classes in middle school to fix it.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't learn how to read till the second grade, and I was in reading classes for dyslexia because I couldn't read, and then one day I had to miss recess to be in those stupid reading classes, so then I learned how to read.
Because you wanted to go back to recess, right?
I was mad. It was on that weird school schedule
mean-
where we had like Thanksgiving break and we had like an early day out or something before break.
Okay.
And my reading class, like I remember getting done with the reading class, running outside to have recess, and everyone's already coming back in. I was like, "Oh, you fucker!" I'm like, "All right, I'm learning how to read. I'm doing it."
You're like, dyslexia.
I literally
who?
remember going
I
up
don't
to
have
my
it.
second grade teacher and be like, "How do I read?" It's like, "So you know those fucking sentences that I make you write out and we say on the board and everything with words? Yeah, those are on the books, and then you just read those words." Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Reading wasn't like a concept to me, and I only allowed it to be because I missed recess.
That's wild. That really is wild.
Yeah.
Like for me, because I have ADHD and I, had it as a very young kid. And for the longest time, I don't know, I don't even know if I've told you this, but in my like second grade teacher like wouldn't accept the fact that my mom told her that my child has ADHD.
Oh no.
And this was, this was in pre 2010, which ADHD was still around, but a lot of people weren't getting like diagnosed with it. A lot of people weren't getting medicated.
So this
by
was
it.
like this
And
teacher was teaching before ADHD was like actually invented.
yeah. Well, invented.
No, I took that. I took that joke from a comedian. He was like,
Okay,
"Yeah, I was in
okay.
special ed classes, but before then, this teacher taught before dyslexia was invented, so she just told me to sound it out."
My mom's like, Eli has ADHD, and the teacher was like, no, he's just a bad kid. So then I had to, yes, no, seriously. And then like the next year, or not even the next year, that same year, I got tested, and we brought in like the, test results, and we're like, well, if you look here, it says it. He
Yeah.
has it. Okay.
If you weren't such a dumb fucking
But it's
bitch,
just
this
like,
guy has a doctorate.
right? But like they didn't want to believe
They thought you were just faking it.
that
Like
it
you
was,
just didn't want to pay
yeah,
attention.
because like ADHD really wasn't a thing that kids were like medicated for at
Oh
that
yeah.
age. It was something that happened like when you were in your teens, or past that. Like adult ADHD was obviously like prevalent, but it wasn't until like 2010, 2011, 2012 when they really started accepting it into the school system. But I was one of their little guinea pigs that I got yelled at for struggling with
Oh
reading.
yeah. Again, I got
um
put in special reading classes, and the only way to get out was really
I was
just
in
to
those
like,
just to do it.
not even just to do it, but like to force yourself. I was never diagnosed with dyslexia, so I claim I have it, but
Okay.
it's like I'm just going off little clues, like how I wrote all my letters fucking backwards. Like not even just my D's and my B's,
Mm.
my N's. I used to write backwards. My Y's I used to write backwards.
Yeah, that's dyslexia.
And I'm not a fast reader. I think I'm a pretty decent one, but it's
Neither
like
am I.
very difficult for me. It takes
Yeah.
me longer than it takes other people. Even when you show me something, like you show me something on your phone, and I'm like, and you're trying to pull away, I'm like, no, I haven't read it yet, fucker. Let me fucking read it, dude.
No, I'm the same. I'm the same way, especially in those scenarios where someone's like, "Hey, look at this,"
And
and you're
so it
like,
leads to those awkward
"What?
situations where
What?"
you're like showing me your phone for like 30 seconds straight, and it's just like, yep, um, very very awkward. Can I pull my? Nope. Okay, we're being here for 5 minutes. Okay,
I like
it's
how
like
both of us, at the same
it's two
time put
sentences.
our
Like, how is it
fucking
taking you five
phones.
minutes? Um, yeah, I was never diagnosed
Ugh.
because I just had to fucking power through. I just had to power through. I could comprehend what
So you never got,
words mean, but I would have to
yeah.
reread things over and over. I would skip lines when I'm reading, or like I
Oh,
would end of one
that's
line. I would then accidentally go back to the beginning of that line, and then,
and
and
then
I'm like,
read
God
it
damn it!
again.
Like, yeah. And
Interesting.
then in
Okay.
music, it like
So
I don't even know this is fucking dyslexia, but the notes would move around.
really,
Like
like as you're looking at the page, they would be moving, or
music for me was like more muscle memory and pattern recognition rather than reading
like actually
per line.
reading.
I got good at it eventually, but
Yeah.
it was just hard. Like sometimes I'm just reading it and I'm like, is that a fucking which note is that? Which line is that on?
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, growing up
I
with
didn't
these
know.
things, especially when you're taken into special classes with just a few people because you are struggling in
Yeah.
your class and you're the only one that gets to leave, it's a very isolating experience for sure.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like,
No, 100%. I felt like I was the outcast of the grade for the longest
yeah,
time, because I was the only one that got pulled into those classes, other than
it felt
like
embarrassing a little bit,
students
right?
with, yeah. Yeah. But like, so in elementary school, like I said, when it was kind of first happening, I'd be pulled into groups with students with autism or Down syndrome, but then like they would have their own people, and then like
And you would be in
it'd
normal
be like three
classes
students.
without your own like person,
Well,
right?
yeah, I'd be in normal classes, but I'd get pulled into those little like special help classes with individuals with a lot more need than I needed.
Yeah, I think it was like,
So like
I don't think I belong here because I'm in the normal classes,
yeah,
but then I get put in
yeah,
classes that, you know, like I don't feel like I need as much help as these guys do. Not saying it's like
yeah,
I'm better,
and
but it's just like I don't think I'm
oh
put
yeah,
in the
no,
right spot.
neither here. Yeah, and part of that for me was because they Like that just it wasn't a thing, you know. Reading help, that wasn't a thing for people with ADHD who that's, their only
Yeah,
deficit.
and we just kind of had to learn to power through and
Yeah.
get isolated from everyone else, and so then we had to work hard just to be treated the same as everyone else. Very
Yeah. No,
it can make you
100%.
feel very lonely. You're hanging out with your
Yeah.
friends and
No, it
stuff, and it's
does.
like, oh, time to go, time to go. You don't know how to
Mhm.
read.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep. Yep.
and speaking
Ugh.
of
I do
loneliness like that,
I do not miss those
yeah,
classes.
because we worked hard to just be treated normally, just to
Yeah.
be with everyone else. But now we get into adult life, and that's not even like an option, really. It's a very
I don't know.
stark contrast. We spoke about this a little bit last episode. Coming
Yeah.
out of college, coming out of high school, coming out of public schools, or like just socialization where people are just forced to
Mhm.
be together, is
Mhm. It's a big environment
and it's
change,
a great
you
environment
know?
to be in with a lot of people. And then all of a sudden you graduate, you're not in college anymore, no more parties, no more, not much socializing really. Like
No more gathering, no more like projects that you work
like
on with
it's
other students.
coworkers
It's
and your family,
yeah,
and that's and
and
friends
friends.
that you've kept over the years, and
Yeah.
that's about it. It's becoming a very much normal thing just to be lonely. You even
Yeah.
see
No, I
studies of like people dating, and people our
mhm.
age. I think like 60 something percent of men our age are
Are
single.
are s- and are doing it, are choosing to do it too.
Not
Like
not
there,
even like
like there's
choosing to do it, because like women our age are dating older, and not nearly as many of them are single. So it's a
yeah.
lot
Yeah.
more normal for especially men to be lonely. There is like a loneliness epidemic going on.
Oh, yeah, with men
Not going to be like, oh, poor
100%.
men, but like it is a huge problem,
No.
and it
No.
does cause like a lot of problems
It
with
cause
men's
yeah,
minds.
and it
And
causes
because you think about like people who do terrible things. Do you think they have a good
yeah.
support system around them?
No. They probably have no support system.
Exactly.
That's why they get into the situations that they
Yeah.
get in, because they have no one saying, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," or "Oh, I think that's a good
Or
idea."
just even like
It's just
regular
their own
regular
thoughts.
interaction and bonding, feeling close to people that you care about.
Yeah.
It helps you feel more human and feel more normal.
Yeah.
And then when you're not in practice of doing that, then every interaction that you have, you overthink, you grow resentment because you think the world forgot about
Mhm.
you.
Exactly.
It also causes you to be like, well, no one wants to talk to me or anything, so what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
What do you think about that
No,
kind of mindset, I guess? Because it does happen.
I agree with a lot of what you just said. I mean, obviously, like there's people and a lot of people in our generation that are just one more our generation is one of the first that is like at peak like mindfulness of what's
Hmm.
going on around them, about what's going on in the world, how other people perceive you, how other people or how you perceive others. Like we're a lot more. I'm not saying other generations don't have this
No,
capability
but there's
at
changes
all.
in that
Uh,
perception over time.
yeah. Yeah. And like we're, one of the first emerging generations that are like very, for the most part, like obviously there's individuals that are not, that don't fit into this category, but there's a large majority of us that are just more conscious of what's
Yeah, I
going
think
on.
our
And,
generation
we,
is kind of like in that in between where it's like we did have some practical life experience. Some. I'm not saying
hmm
nearly as much as previous generations. I won't take credit for that.
yeah,
But we had some previous life experience, and then we combine it with our, we grew up with social media and the internet and having more access to
yeah,
information. So we have like a combination of those practical life skills, and then what to draw from the online space. We had training kind of like both camps. So having that
yeah.
mindfulness, you know, generations after
It,
us
it,
will
it
have less life
mhm,
experience, more online experience, and probably be a little less
mhm.
perceptive to what's going on in the real world.
Yeah. I mean, you're seeing it in, the newer generations
Yeah.
today, of iPad kids and all of that stuff. If your head is always glued to this screen and you're just walking around, acting like a normal person, you have no fucking clue what's going on to your left or
Yeah.
right. Maybe you see what's like right above where the screen ends, but maybe you see where you're walking, but that's about it. Back to the whole like loneliness thing. I think like I'm alone right now by choice,
Yeah.
right?
Me too.
Well, no, I'm not trying to make either of us feel bad right now, but I am genuinely single by choice right now.
Yeah.
Because in my past relationships, I've spent a lot of time with the other person, spent a lot of time with their people, and not really taking time
You
to
invested more in your partners than you did in yourself.
focus. Yeah, my mentality right now is like I get to enjoy being myself. I get to enjoy exploring, what I like and what I
You
don't
get to find
like.
out
And
who you are. These are very,
yeah,
I say
yeah.
formative years a lot to sound smart, but
Hmm.
genuinely, like, these
No, but
are
it's true.
young
It's
20s.
true.
It's like I'm establishing an identity.
Yeah. I'm like making a life for myself
Yeah.
almost. Like that's where, the mentality is right now. But, yeah, there is like, even if I am choosing to do this, loneliness is still all around. I live
Yeah.
alone, you live alone,
What?
we live together, we lived together for a year, and then you went back to hometown, I went back to hometown, and then I moved up
Yeah.
here and lived with someone for a year, and then now I'm finally in my own place. But
It's a
it's
stark contrast. I mean, we used to hang out all the time.
very
I think
every day.
those like in-person hangouts that we did, I value a lot more than I think I did at the time because it was
Hmm.
so beneficial to have that social interaction, to have camaraderie back and forth. And we get it online all the
And
time because we can't travel a lot. Again, we both have full-time
mhm,
jobs.
and really
Yeah.
shitty cars.
I don't know. You learn to value
It,
those things more and more when you finally don't have them. And when you're on your
yeah,
own, you don't have really anybody to help you. You live
yeah.
alone.
You just kind of have to figure it out,
You have to figure it
right?
out.
I mean, that's
And
that's what I've been doing for a while.
you talked about
Yeah.
being single by choice. And I honestly think I semi fall into that category. Cuz
Okay.
I could probably find some random person who would want to go on a date with me, right? But I don't want that. I've had experiences before where it's like the whole hookup culture and everything with getting
Yeah.
with someone. I experienced that, and then because I didn't have an emotional connection with them, the
Hmm.
experience, I just did not enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so
No, I feel
once
it.
I learned that about myself, it was like, okay, I really can't just get with anybody. I really have to
Yeah.
bond with them and form an emotional connection in order for me to enjoy any type of like intimacy or something like that. Again, it's
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
can enjoy some of it to an extent, but then like
Yeah, but it's like in the back of your mind. I'm the same way. Like I don't do hookups. I never have. I don't think I ever will, and that's one of the reasons. I mean, it's the same way that I approach friendships and like
mhm.
professional relationships. Like I'm not well, professional relationships are professional
I'm a pro at
relationships, but
sex.
um, but like like friendships and stuff, and people that I choose to like be around. I don't choose to hang out with someone because I think they look hot. I'm not hanging out with someone because they're funny.
Yeah.
You know, I have to, like, personally, like, I have to like really vibe with
Yeah, you
them,
actually feel connected.
which mm,
That feeling of connection is
yeah,
what
and
we're lacking, and that's what we're craving in
yeah,
any type of relationship that we have. It may lead to more
hmm,
loneliness, but having more worthwhile relationships, I think, is more beneficial.
yeah,
If
yeah. No, I
because
agree,
I mean,
and
we
I
both
I
gotten
feel
with
like
people who have their own issues, and then it actually is more of a detriment to us.
hmm,
You know,
hmm, and then we are picking up the pieces for them instead of, building our own puzzle type of thing.
Or just like the
Um,
friendship is more like helping them deal with the problems rather than like we're both getting something out of it and I'm feeling a genuine connection towards you.
yeah, yeah. No, I get it. I really do. And I feel like, I feel like that's one of those, that's one of those things with like people our age, especially, guys. Like I know that a lot of guys out there are, the complete opposite of where our heads are at,
I mean, some guys
you
it's
know.
just a numbers
And
game for them.
it is. And and then there are some that are just like, oh, I just want to go out and have fun. And
I
that's,
don't even
that's cool. Like that's your
like
prerogative. You can do whatever the
yeah, I
fuck you
won't
want,
knock
but
it, but I did try
it's
it.
yeah.
It's just not for
And
me.
it,
Like I
it's
have to I'm more emotionally complicated. Not complex, just complicated. I'm more
yeah.
problematic
I,
emotionally. So I need a connection, otherwise I can't feel secure in any type of
yeah.
intimacy or whatever.
It's crazy. Like there are people who claim to be like single by choice, but that is them saying that they just want to hook up with, whoever they want to
Yeah.
hook up with,
And I guess when I
right?
say it, I haven't found someone that I think is that I really care about. I haven't found someone I
Yeah.
care about people, but I haven't found someone that I could potentially love romantically. I
I
think
get
that's a
that.
really hard thing to
I get
find
where
someone you really vibe with. Like I'm trying to find the right
yeah.
person for me, not just like, oh, this person's giving me attention.
That leads into the whole like, we talked about this in the respectful relationships episode.
People chasing other people just so
There's
that they get some kind of validation for their existence.
Yeah. Yeah, and that they can say that, oh, well, I'm hanging out with so and so, and it's like, are you, or are you just like using them for attention type
Yeah.
of thing? Which further leads into that like, you know, self loneliness, because it's like I'm only useful for attention
Yeah,
seeking.
or
I'm not like, no one wants to hang out with me just to hang out with me. They want to hang out with me to get
yeah,
something from it.
if you take a step back and view your relationship as it is, it's like, does this person
Yeah.
actually ask about you or what you're interested in? Do they care about what you,
Hmm.
not even do they care about what you care about, but do they care that you have something that you care about? That is something that I would,
That's a very good way to. It's a very good way to put it.
because you'll ask me specific questions about me. I'll remember specific
Yeah.
details you told me. We even had a conversation before. It's like, I remember this person that I told you about. Oh, I'm like, oh, I remember. I don't like them.
No. There's quite a
Yeah,
few of
I think
those.
that's just like a symptom of loneliness where
Uh-huh.
you have to be a little more secure with yourself. I'm a very insecure person in general, but
Hmm.
having security of myself where like I don't need you to make me feel like I matter. I don't need attention from you
Hmm.
anymore. It's not doing anything for me. And I don't
Yeah.
think for a
I
lot
mean,
of
it
people
also.
who have those type of relationships, one-sided, I don't actually don't think it's doing a lot for them. I think it's
No.
slowly filling a hole,
It's feed.
but the
It's
hole,
it's feeding
yeah,
them, but
but it's
it's
not
not sustaining.
satisfactory. And it's like
Yeah.
you're slowly feeding a hole or filling it, but the hole is the void in Minecraft, you know? You're not filling anything
Yeah.
up. You're just kind of throwing shit down
You're just
there.
kind of wasting it,
And
right?
then another like a symptom of loneliness that
Yeah.
I experience when I'm out and about in public, you know, you
Hmm.
say one thing to someone like hi or something like that, and they'll just have two paragraphs for you of just what they're doing, what's
Hmm.
going on, everything. I'm like, oh, these people have not spoken to someone and gotten this off of their chest.
In a
And
long
so like you
time.
say
Yeah.
one thing to them and then they say a lot of things. Yap for a little bit. I'm
Hmm.
known for yapping too.
Maybe.
But it's like I was like, holy shit! Like I just asked how your day was, and you're like, oh, my daughter's in the hospital, and our dog has three legs now, and
My cat ate our other cat. that cat's getting put down this
My car got
afternoon.
2 tires
Like,
popped, so now it's a
dad's in
motorcycle.
the hospital, and it's just like, whoa, 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 whoa.
You already said.
You,
My
what'd you
car has
say?
2 popped tires, so now it's a motorcycle.
But like those are the people that you're like, you can tell they are lonely
They're
in
lonely because
in their life.
they just unload on
They
you
don't
as soon
have
as you
any,
speak to them.
right? Right. And like it really speaks to the whole, like you need a
Yeah,
support.
like it's
You
usually the
really do.
older crowd who have this problem
Yeah.
because again, it's like your friends change who they are. The older you get, the harder it is to
Yeah.
meet people. So it's usually the older crowd, but now it's become a normal thing in younger crowds to be lonely. And then they
Hmm.
have all this stuff on their chest, and then there's people who do fucking terrible shit because they have this growing resentment. They have so much they need to get
Yeah.
off their chest and express, but they don't express it, and so then they just have this feeling of unease, and their mind goes into a panic because they don't have the social interaction,
Hmm.
and then they'll do
Yeah.
some heinous shit.
A lot of people
So
struggle.
then let me ask you this: how do we combat loneliness,
Yes.
Eli?
Mm, that is a juicy question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, do you want, because like I have my own way of, going about things, which is very different from like the
How about
norm,
this?
but I'd
You
say,
you give your personal perspective, and then you give
okay.
advice. What you think would benefit. And again, I'm gonna give a disclaimer right now. We are not experts in this. We're not psychologists.
No, no,
We don't have studies pulled up in front of us.
I have done studies, but I'm not looking at any data right
We're not
now.
using data to come up with
No.
this. This is just our personal beliefs, everything like that. So
Yeah.
whatever advice we give, take with a grain of salt, but it may help. It may help. So go ahead.
For me, loneliness and essentially anything regarding mental health is, one, in the name. It's all up here. It's all up here. It's all about how you approach situations and how you think about those
Okay.
situations. If you start changing the way that you think about situations, like from a negative to a positive or a positive to a
Mhm.
negative, whatever it may be, that's when your, mindset kind of changes, because you're now viewing, like, let's say your dog just died, or let's say my dog
Oh,
just
I'm
died.
so sorry, man.
I'd do some, mourning, of course, but over time, like, yes, in those first, week or so, like, I could be thinking that, God, like, how could this ever happen to them? Like, this isn't fair.
How
This
could this
this is
happen to me?
stupid. Exactly. Um, but
I'm not trying to bring a damper to you to this
but
point you're making. I'm just
no, in that scenario with, the, death of an animal, just as
yeah.
an example, not saying that this only pertains to deaths or something along those
Mhm.
lines, but when you start changing your mindset regarding something from negative to a positive, it's hard. Like, I'll, upfront say it, like, it is very difficult to, alter that mindset, especially if you've been living that same way for so many years. Just, every scenario that goes bad for you, you're thinking down on it. You're thinking, this is
So
stupid. This is just my luck. Like, this is just what I deserve. Those are all obviously, negative, intrusive
so
thoughts,
let me
right?
ask you this then. So in that example that
Yeah.
your dog dies, right? You said,
Yeah.
how could this happen to me? So
Uh-huh.
what would you think instead? What would you want running through your mind? What would you consciously think to battle against the negative intrusive thoughts?
I'd be, you know, focusing on, like, oh, well, if, like, let's say they were sick, I'd be like, they were in a lot of pain for a very long time. They're no longer in pain. They're no longer, taking medications every single day that they don't want
So
to, that
your
they
way of
can't.
like not
I'm
being super negative is trying to put more context. into those thoughts.
Yes, bringing context
So it's
into
like
it,
not
like
this is just not just
kind
bad,
of
bad, bad. Like sure they passed away, it's bad, but there's other
yeah,
factors that
yeah,
make it more of a gray area rather than black and white.
yeah. Death for me is very common. I worked at a retirement home for 8 years. I lost count of the amount of residents that
Yeah.
we lost, and like I know that's just like for some people like that's crazy to
I mean,
hear.
it's a retirement home.
Um,
Like
yeah,
I'm doing it right now. I'm
yeah,
putting in context and like this is a place where like it's it is the end of someone's life, and
Ri-
you're just trying to make it comfortable
right,
for
and
them.
like right, and like that's how I think of it. But there are some people who I've worked with there at that location that like whenever someone had a heart attack or someone had a stroke in the dining room, or they saw someone get taken out by a stretcher, they like went to the bathroom and cried for 30 minutes. And
I mean, it's
yes, it was hard to see that when I first started. Over the years, it just I started to view it more as like a superpower that I had. Obviously not a like superpower, but in terms of dealing with
oh okay.
loss.
And I guess also like you deal with it so many times, eventually you're not going to be as like
Yeah, which, in another perspective you could be like, "Oh, well, I'm just
it's
numb
like
to it
slightly
now." Which
desensitized to it, but you
may
also it'd be one thing if you just were just like, "Oh, this is normal," and you had zero reaction, but you have like an
y-
actual perspective on it.
yeah. Yeah. And like when people lose lives, I try to at least in that scenario, obviously not from, war or, you know, anything, outside of their own life. But these old people, it's like they've lived 90 years. They've lived 100 years. They lived 105 years. I have there were multiple residents that lived to I think 106
So you're like, these people live four
106.
times the amount of
So
life
like
I've lived.
r- right? So like, I started viewing it as a more normal thing because yes, like that's the environment that I'm in. There's no way that I can escape the reality
And
that
your
I
whole
was
job
working
is
in
to make their last bit of time on this earth comfortable and enjoyable.
and relaxing, and
So it's
they
like
can
you have the
do what they
context is like
want.
this is
And
the end of their life. So we're just gonna help them
yeah,
along.
yeah. So back to your thing about um how I would change my mindset. Just try to bring in context. Look at I guess my big takeaway is like take a step back when you're in that negative headspace. you know like when you're thinking about all of those things, take a big step back and look at everything surrounding that one issue, or that one situation that's making you upset,
Another question.
and and focus on like the positives of all of the other things and how it makes it okay that the situation
Yeah.
happened.
Another question. You don't have to answer this one if you don't
Yes,
want, because it is a more complicated one.
I will give it my
Yeah, if
best.
not, it's fine. But so if someone has a lot of bad things happen, say, it's this one
Yeah.
situation happens, it sucks. I'll have to get over it. What if a lot of bad things happen all in a row, and someone's maybe losing a bit of hope? Would you still go with the same strategy of adding more context to each individual situation, or would you go
Mm.
about that different?
So like if like time and time again just shitty shitty shitty
And
shitty
it's like
shitty
completely out of your
shitty,
control.
right? Are there any good parts? I mean,
I'm
I'd assume
sure
there are some good.
they might have bought a donut that they liked in that time, or
Yeah.
something like that. Some like little victory,
um
maybe. Is that maybe the strategy that you would try to employ? Focus on the little things, the little victories.
Yes and no. You're right. It is a complicated question.
Yeah,
You know, f- I
I know it's not a
I
black
don't
and
know.
white type thing. I'm just curious,
Yeah,
genuinely.
and so my thoughts on it are like, yes, it is so hard to, focus on the positives if all you're getting are
Mm-hmm.
bads, or are all you're getting are negatives. Um, and like, I've been in points in my life where all I'm getting are
Yeah,
negatives,
I just need to know.
but
I'm
I'm
asking for a friend.
well, so like, I don't know. Focusing on the little things is very, very important to me. If I'm having a shitty day or something, or like a shitty start to the day, I'll take a
Mhm.
breather, in the middle of the day and do something that I want to do, regardless of, responsibility. Like, let's say I'm at work and, I have a 15-minute break, but I'm having a really, shitty time, like doing whatever I'm doing. I'll go out of my car, listen to music, or like get on my phone and scroll through TikTok, which nowadays it's not very
Because
positive
you like to
for the
get
most
news and
part, but
shit from like TikTok.
I do, yeah, I do get a lot of news
So
from
like you,
TikTok.
I think what you're saying more is like you need something to just escape for a minute. You don't have to live in this
You do need it.
negative hell of a reality. I have days
Hmm.
like that where I'm at
Hmm.
work and I'm like, oh, there's no fucking way I can get through this day. Like I'm just so
Yeah,
fucking drained. I go to my lunch break
yeah,
and for like an hour straight, I'm in my car. I'm just watching a bunch of shit that I enjoy, that interests me,
yeah.
and I'm like in a completely different fucking world at that point. Who knows? Maybe watching weird, obscure gaming challenges is the key to beating negative things happening in your life. There's my advice,
Maybe,
everybody.
I, like, I just think it's important to give yourself an escape, even if it's just temporary. I mean, obviously you can never escape
Yeah,
something fully. It's never going to be fully detached from your existence, but you can take time to, like, essentially move your mind from this to
at
this,
least temporarily, you don't
even
have to
even
be
even
in
if it's just
this
for 10
place. Yeah,
minutes,
you
right?
get some sort of
Right?
relief for
And
a little bit. I think
mhm,
that's why I
mhm.
also like.
And like, even
Sorry to interrupt you, but just like
no, you're
smoking
good.
weed is a very common thing. Drinking is very common. That people like to escape.
Yeah.
Obviously, escapes too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. So you,
Because then it starts becoming a coping
yeah,
mechanism.
rather than like
And then and
just a bit of relief to
rather
give
than
you perspective.
no, I wholeheartedly agree.
A whole
Yeah.
decade of my life went by of just escaping, which is
Mhm.
crazy to say as an almost 24-year-old. But actually, like legitimately, a whole decade of my life went by where I was just constantly escaping,
Yeah.
which it fucking sucks. But
I know it, man.
so and that's not.
I'm not smiling like I think
No,
it's
I get it.
funny.
My
I'm
pain is
just
really hilarious to you. We've talked about this before. You're just
N-
laughing at my pain.
no,
It's
but
okay. I've needed
no.
new friends for a while.
You're not getting anyone better than me.
The fucking ego on this guy. Damn. Okay. I'm just a fucking
Ooh.
goat of being a
Ooh, ooh,
friend, bro.
ooh,
I'm
ooh.
just the goat of being your friend, bro. I'm the goat of bros and the broat.
I'm the broad of
That's
friends.
right. That's right.
That's
Well, if you
me.
say
That's
broat of
me.
friend, like you say broat, this means you're the goat of being the bro. Like it's
The
it's
broad.
like you're saying it twice. It's like I'm saying,
No, I get it now.
"Oh,
I
I
get it.
love
I get it.
pizza."
You know what?
Pizza. Yeah, get annoyed with me. See what happens. Um
I'm just making good content. That's
oh
all I'm
yeah,
doing.
is that like when we're not recording or
Ryan, sometimes, man. Sometimes you just keep pushing.
um
Both of our faces are getting
oh
so
god, dude.
fucking
I like
red,
how I
I
was talking
swear.
about like the saddest portion of my life and then and then we're just giggling like little fucking schoolgirls. But escaping,
Ugh.
you know, it's
Yeah, you've used
I
escapism
know
a
all
lot
about
over
escaping,
your life.
baby. That's how I do. That's how I do. I know I'm an expert in disassociating. That's for sure. You ever be in a manic state? I am the manic state. That is me. You're just embodying me
That's Ryan.
when you're in a manic state. But disassociation, escaping, they are tools, but with a hammer, you don't want to smash your fingers. You need to
Very,
you need to
very
use
true.
those things
You,
correctly and in
you,
doses. Otherwise, it's deuces for your life, and suddenly 10 years has gone by for me.
yeah.
Just it feels like the snap of a fingers,
It
and then all you
mhm.
can do is reminisce and look back and be like, damn, all this shit happened, and my mind was in a completely different place.
Yeah. No, I get it. I know I have a bunch of people, that I've been friends with or that I still am friends or no longer
I'm the
friends with
best you're
that
gonna get.
they're I've had a lot of people. I knew a lot of people,
Uh-huh,
okay?
and they're
Okay.
all named Ryan.
Um no, I knew a lot of people who also did, use those coping mechanisms as
Mhm.
an escape. And over time you get so used to using that escape to, like, just detach yourself from reality
Yeah,
for a second, that you do it every day, and it becomes a cycle, and then, like you said, boom, 10 years,
yeah.
you
It
know
fucking sucks because then you're
and
like,
like it, it
and you
gets
feel like
away
you
from
don't
you.
have as much time left to do the things you want to
Hmm.
do.
Which
Yeah,
sucks.
and it's hard to find purpose when you spend so much time doing one thing, because then you kind of train your mind into thinking that, like, oh, I have to do this thing. This is what I have to do.
Yeah.
This is my job. This is my purpose in life, is to escape
Yeah.
and to watch YouTube all day on my TV, which I do. Um, I don't say these things like I've gotten over it. I'm just saying it takes you a long time to realize these things. And I wish I had
It
someone
does.
in my fucking ear hole talking about this stuff, talking and cocking about this stuff, to
Yeah.
just give me a perspective on, like, oh shit, I am just kind of disassociating and letting time go by.
No, it's
It's a lifelong struggle to get a hold of your life again once that starts.
and it really is a struggle, finding yourself and, like, getting out of those headspaces. I've been in those headspaces before many times throughout my life, and the way that I guess the way that I get out of them is, like I said, adding context to a
Hmm.
negative situation, right? Taking a step back, looking at everything else around it. If I'm looking, or if I'm talking about, like, a period of my life, if there are, 10 negative things, I'll look closer on the timeline and be like, oh, well, there's actually 20 little positive things that I did. Those are really cool. Like, I'm glad I was able to do that, even
Like, in
though,
that period
all of this
of
negative
negative shit
shit
happening,
happened.
maybe you have actually have made
Yeah.
progress and significant progress towards something good in your life,
Hmm.
but if it's in the context of all these bad major events happening, maybe you don't give yourself credit for that.
You just kind Yeah. And I feel like with a lot of people, like, time and time again with negative things happening, they just, whenever they look, or whenever they take a step back, they just see all of those negative things just
Yeah.
front and center,
And then they
you
go
know?
back to
And
their
then all of the
escape
little.
mechanisms and their coping mechanisms,
Mhm.
and you know
Mhm. And then the next time it pops up, boom, negative, and then
they
they
escape,
escape.
and then the next
And
major thing
they
that's
don't see.
negative, escape. I think
Yeah.
my personal advice, since you really haven't asked for any of my advice or any questions this whole time. No,
You've
that's
been
good.
asking me
I'm
question
a
after
great
question.
interviewer. One of us has to be. Uh,
Ryan, how do you deal,
well,
or
let me
how
give
do
this
you
piece of advice before you
handle
start yapping about
those?
questions.
Okay. This fucking dude.
My advice, which I'm bad at taking myself, Ask you when you're doing your escape mechanism,
Uh-huh.
ask yourself, what would I be doing right now if I wasn't doing this? What is the actual thing I would be doing right now if I wasn't watching YouTube, TikTok, whatever, disassociating?
Mm-hmm.
If I couldn't do this, what would I be doing instead? Would I be sitting and staring at the
So
wall?
like if
Or would my body be like, okay, I gotta
yeah.
find some stimulation somehow for my mind? So maybe I'll draw, maybe I'll do a different hobby or something, and maybe that will me feel more
Yeah.
fulfilling. And it's not even like I'm not even saying stop your coping mechanism and feel bad. I'm saying seriously,
Mm-hmm.
like think about what you would do if you weren't doing that. And then be like, well, maybe it is worth trying that. Maybe I will find satisfaction
Mm-hmm.
in doing something else. If you figure that out, maybe you don't know, and maybe that's a question to figure
Mm-hmm.
out. Maybe maybe you incorporate some problem solving skills. Like, what would I do if my fucking power went out right now?
I think that's really
Yeah,
important because like it's when you're in it in the moment, your escape
yeah.
is your
And I
reality.
think what you said about taking a
So
step back, I think that's how you can really be like, what would I do if I couldn't do this?
mhm,
And not even just like, don't
yeah,
even make yourself do it, but plant that little seed in your mind. Be like, Jenny, I just want to answer this question.
hmm
What would I do?
yeah, just like yeah, plant like you said,
Plant the
plant it
seed
there.
and then
Just
revisit that, acknowledge that thought, and it
yeah,
will grow. Let that neural
yeah,
pathway grow. You escape 1,000 times, maybe 100 of those times you thought, what would I be doing instead? And that is
hmm
progress towards getting out of that endless cycle. Even if you're
yeah.
still in it, any thought to escape it is progress.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. But it is hard, for those listening. It
Yep.
is
I'm
hard.
listening real hard right now.
It's not like Ryan, I know, I know you, struggle with things
What?
too, and
What?
I'm not
What?
saying no, I know
You
I
think I have
no, I'm
problems?
I'm
I
not
struggle with
saying
things? You fucking kidding me? I don't struggle with anything.
I'm just saying I still have, things that I'm working on. I still have things,
Are you
or
serious?
there are still times.
I thought you were. I always thought you were perfect, but
No, I am. I am. I lied. I
you
lied.
lied. You
I'm
lied
great now.
because you lied
I
on the internet.
fuck you. Fuck you. No, it's just, I
You're still
like
struggling with things. No
no
one's
one's
perfect.
yeah, and like no one ever reaches a point where they're like, "Oh,
I'm good. Nothing's bothering me ever.
I, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. I'm
Yeah.
perfect. Life is
If you ever
perfect."
hear me say
That
that,
it's
I
just
am in a
that's
complete
not
manic state. I'm
that's
halfway
that's
there right
manic.
now.
That is that is manic right there. I don't think it's ever good to like compare how your mental state is compared to like how somehow or how other
Yeah.
people deal with it,
I
because it's
I
all
think you can
internal,
draw, like, we're giving
which
some
is
tips right now. You can draw
yeah, yeah,
information from those type of
yes,
things, other people's mental states, how they deal with it, but never compare, because I think
yeah,
the point in anything in life is not to be better than this person, is not to compare yourself to this person. I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. You can take
or
information, and
mhm,
if they do things that would benefit you, awesome, perfect. But the main thing is to make improvements of what you're doing
yeah,
and just constantly improve. Never take away from the work that you do, you know, with mentally, physically, anything that you're working on, but always add to it.
yeah,
Always make things better, improve things. Not to say that the thing you're doing right now is bad, but just improve it. There's always steps to
mhm.
improve.
Always there's always ways that you can make
Yeah,
things
and
better.
eventually you'll be in a really,
Even a shitty thing, you can make it less
yeah, even
shittier,
slightly,
you know?
even slight steps is a victory, because life is fucking hard
Yes.
and it's fucking unfair as
Yeah.
shit.
And you gotta take those little victories,
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then you're just gonna continue in this continuous
You may lose
loop
10 times, but
of
you get one dub. That's fucking great. Take it.
yeah. Take it and be like, you know what? I won once. I lost 10 times, but I
Literally,
still
like,
won.
if
So
any little good
it's
thing happens, the light turns green,
yeah.
so you don't have to slow down your fucking car at the light that usually stops you in the morning on your way to work. Bro, that made my day.
Mm-hmm.
Find something that
Yeah.
makes your day. So, any questions for me, or am I the only one that actually gives a shit?
Well, so
sorry, I'm sorry. I love you.
we've been talking back and forth. You're acting like I'm not asking you anything.
I mean,
Um,
you haven't put a question mark
I
at
mean, I
the
feel
end of
like
anything, but I am commenting on what you're saying. We're yes-anding each other.
yeah.
I love you. I'm kidding, man.
I feel like you. I because I'm sitting over here like I feel like we
I'm
both answered all the
I'm just
questions.
like a sarcastic bitch, man. You know, one of us has to do it. There's always
Yeah.
the good one and the bad one.
Yeah. I guess I'm the great one. I'm the bro. Apparently, Ryan said it 10
I'm
minutes
cutting that
ago.
out.
So,
I'm cutting it out, and I'm gonna.
and then you're gonna leave in this and make me look like a fucking
Yeah,
asshole.
majority of my edits are just to make you look bad. We just say, but
Ooh.
like
Y-
you know,
You know,
stuff like that. Stuff
and
like
stuff like
that is
that.
so bad for me, bro. Like I was editing. Like, look at the fucking shit. I'm editing
Yeah.
episodes, and then
I say
I
all the
see it, and I
time.
can't unsee it. But you can always make improvements.
You can. You can always make improvements, and just when you're struggling, take a step back. Take a breath, think about everything, and then just let it go. Which I know that's
I don't
a
know if
lot easier than
I
just
don't know if I
letting
would
it go.
say
But
let it go, but I would say like for one, dealing with it, you are valid in dealing with it, obviously.
yeah,
And
yeah,
acknowledge that you're valid in that, and then
hmm
take your small victories, man. If
yeah.
if
I'd also
someone that you care about passes away, I mean, think about all the shit that they instilled you with.
think think about all the experiences you had with them. How many times you were happy with them, or what the most memorable times that
And
you
if it's
had with
coming
them.
to a point where
And
like people, they're coming to the end of their life, people, and everyone does with people
yeah,
they experience. Every moment that you have now until then, you just literally acknowledge and be like, I need to remember this.
yeah,
I'll look at conversations I'm having with people I care about now, and I'm like, I need this, like, in my memory. I'm glad I have this, because I don't want anyone
yeah,
to deal with something and something tragic happen, and then be like having regrets, and then being like, oh shit, I should have done this more, should have done that more. Make time for the people you love, man. Thank you all so much for watching Talk and Cock TNC with R&E. Anyone who's listening up to this point, we love you. We thank you so much.
we love
If
you.
you have something to add to this, if you have other advice for dealing with symptoms of loneliness, it's an epidemic, and anyone's perspective is pretty fucking valid on this, I think. So
hmm Everyone
everyone
goes
goes
through
through it.
it. Don't think that
It is
you're the
becoming
only
more
one.
and more common to
Remember
be
that.
lonely. So if you have advice for people that have
Yeah.
worked for you, maybe it doesn't work for everyone, but maybe you could help someone out today. Just leave a comment. Or,
Yeah.
reach out to people that you might think are isolating themselves. We really just got to
Yeah.
look out for our homies, bro. Like that's a
You
pretty
you
like
you do.
informal way
You
of
do.
saying that, but it's like you got to look out for the homies.
Yeah.
If you guys want more things, Talk and Cock, check out allmylinks.com/TNCPOD. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.